So AFCFTA is African Continental Free Trade Area, and that was established by the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. It's been on for a while, but it was last year that Nigeria signed. It's been over a year that Nigeria signed. I'll be talking a lot about this program also as we go along. It's one of the best things that I think happened to Africa, thinking of trading among ourselves. Nigeria is a very big market with over 200 million people, and that's a market that everybody is looking to enter. We also need to be ready to go out. So if you are Nigeria or you are listening from other African countries, this will be talking not just for Nigeria, I'll be talking generally for anyone within the African continent to be able to take advantage of AFCFTA, even though I might be talking sometime from Nigerian perspective. So I'll be looking at what we can export under the AFCFTA, and that's what I remember now, the African Continental Free Trade Area. This is the logo of the program. I know for probably a number of us, this might be a new, you might be getting to know about this for the first time, but I'll be spending a lot of time discussing not just the detail of the agreement, but more importantly, taking advantage of the agreement. Taking advantage of the agreement. It's an egg-long plan of Africa to be able to trade together, but now it's being realized, and we must do all we need to do to be able to take advantage of this agreement. So the essence of this seminar, which is going to be for a long time, like I said, is to be able to educate all the people that will be coming every week about how to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area. By the way, if you check on top of the flyer that you saw, you will also see that we put a Telegram channel there. So you need to join that Telegram channel to be able to have access to the video. So you will have access to the video and the audio of this session afterwards, but that will be in the Telegram channel. So if you don't have Telegram, you might need to download Telegram and join us. So the link will be provided. It's already on the flyer you got, and to be also be provided before the end of this session for you to be able to join the Telegram group and be able to have access to the recorded version of this session. COVID has made it necessary. In fact, COVID has reminded us of the need for Africa to do business together. The low-hanging fruit for many countries right now as a source of generating revenue is the free trade agreement they've been able to sign. The free trade agreement they'll be able to sign. Free trade agreement basically enable countries to do business together duty-free. Free trade agreement enable countries to do business together duty-free in such a way that I can ship goods to Senegal, to Rwanda, to South Africa, and I will not be paying duty on the goods. What does that do? What would that do to us? It will make the product to be relatively cheaper than other countries outside Africa that want to trade with Africa. What is the implication of that? The implication of that at the end of the day is that it prevents everyone. The implication of that at the end of the day is that it prevents, it allows every country to be able to enjoy the benefit. You know, up until now, Africa was not enjoying the benefit of the population of Africa. We are over 1 billion, but we're not enjoying that benefit of that population. And the reason why we're not enjoying the benefit of that population is basically because we are not leveraging on our population to do business together. Over 1.2 billion people, we are not leveraging our population to do business together. Nigeria is, according to National Population Commission, 206 million, and with young people below the age of 14, 15 being for over 40%. So we have a very young and vibrant population. But you know what? The people enjoying those benefits are those that are able to trade. And that's what AFCFTA is all about. Oil price slump and went below zero. I show this at every seminar I do, just reminding us that the fact that we really cannot rely on this oil. We really cannot rely on this oil. We've relied on it for so long and it really has no help. And the fact that the oil price could go below zero this year is an indication that, look, it's time for us to do something serious about this over-reliance on oil price. And it was because nobody was buying. Those red dots you can see on the screen were oil vessels in different parts of the world, sometimes in April, May, that are unable to discharge because nobody was buying. And that was why people were willing to give you money to take their oil. The price went below zero. Who have been the beneficiary of COVID or the gainer of COVID or winner of COVID? People doing medical supply, people in food processing and retail, personal health care, ICT, e-commerce, and agriculture. And on the other hand, people that are losers, tourism and leisure, aviation and maritime, automobiles, construction and real estate, manufacturing of non-essential, financial services, and the like. So at the end of the day, we have a situation where some are gainers, some are losers, and oil and gas seems to be having both. And this should be a lesson also for everyone that if you're producing anything, look for things that human beings need for survival. That is more enduring than others. That's not to say you should not do others, but I mean, for what you can see from COVID, COVID has taught all of us a very, very important lesson. Before now, there have been challenges in trade in the world generally. Before now, there have been challenges in trade in the world. Look at 2019. Look at what's happening in trade in the world. The air freight level went down. Air freight traffic. Global merchandise in trade also went down. The blue line. I'm looking at the one on the left. Air passenger traffic also went down a little. Even container port traffic went down. All of them went down in 2019. And the major contribution to it is between the US and China trade tension. Because these two countries contribute immensely to world trade. Immensely to world trade. These two countries constitute almost 40% of the global GDP. Almost 40% of the global GDP. So they also contribute a lot to it. The largest exporter in the world is China. The second largest exporter in the world is US. The largest importer in the world is US. And the second largest importer in the world is China. And these are done in trillions of dollars. In trillions of dollars. In trillions of dollars. So you can see, because of the tension, there was reduction in the world GDP, USA GDP, China GDP, and also the world trade. The world trade. Because, like I said, they are the major people contributing significantly to the trade in the world. Now, because of COVID-19, there are predictions by WTO about the fact that oil, trade generally, which was $18.89 trillion in the year 2019, is expected to decline by about 13%. That is the optimistic scenario. And in the pessimistic scenario, it's expected to decline by 32% in the year 2020. 32% in the year 2020. So, and the reason why, as I said, everybody is trying to survive, basically, in the world. Everybody is trying to survive. Look at our GDP. Our GDP is -6. We were going at almost 2% before, or about 2%, but now we are -6. And that's across board. Every country experienced negative GDP growth. And the reason is obvious. You know, I was on an interview with AIT today, and the lady was asking that, look, what do you make of this? I said, it's like a man being asked, what do you expect after 9 months of pregnancy for your wife? Is to deliver now. So what has happened is the delivery of the lockdown. The person raising up his hand, I won't be able to attend to you right now. I will recommend you drop your question if you have a question or comment. All right, thank you. So pessimistic scenario, 32%. 32% will mean moving from 18 trillion to about $13 trillion. That's a lot. That's a lot. In the optimistic scenario, from 18 to about $16 trillion. These are all huge amounts of trade transactions being hindered. Of course, because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So in 2028, the prediction of Boston Consulting Group was that trade is going to become about 24 trillion, but now they've revised it to 21 in 2028. In 2028, can you imagine? In 2028, they were already projected $24 trillion in trade, but now they have revised it to 2021. Why? Because of the slowdown that is expected this year. That means we're going to spend some time to recover. We're going to spend some time to recover and go back to where we were before we eventually begin to grow. Now, back to Africa. Africa is the world's second largest continent, and Africa is the second most populous continent in the world. I understand Nigeria will soon become the fifth most populous country in the world, Nigeria. And they're expecting that will be released this week, the detail of population of the world. Fifth largest rather. But Africa is the second most populous continent and the world's largest continent. Now, land mass is 30.4 million square kilometers. Market size, 1.2 billion people. Estimated GDP, 2 trillion. That's really small in a world of $80 trillion in GDP, global GDP. African having 2 trillion is small. So this is the reason why actually the initiative of AFCFTA become extremely critical, extremely important. That's why that initiative is very important. That's why that initiative is very important. The initiative is important because of the fact that we have such a huge population, but we are not taking advantage of our population. How can we be 2 trillion and having a GDP of, how can we be 1.2 billion and having a GDP of 2 trillion? So the whole essence of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement is to stimulate trade among ourselves. Intra-regional trade for America is about 55.2%. Inter-regional trade that's for North America. For Asia, it's about 59.4%. For EU, it's about 70%. But look at this. For a long time, the African countries or Africans have not been able to leverage on its population to generate wealth for its people. These have largely been enjoyed by other countries in Asia, in Europe, in America. Also, EU, with a population of about 500 million people, is controlling about 33% of trade in the world. And about 70% of that trade is done among themselves. So that tells you that what makes EU a powerful force in trade is because they do trade among themselves. What makes EU a powerful force in trade I understand there is an Ifeyinwa that his video is on. Please kindly switch off your video, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. So now, Africa, 1.2 billion, contributing just 2.5%. 1.2 billion contributing just 2.5% to the world trade. With just about 18% in Africa, 18% intra-African trade. So look at EU, 70% among themselves, and they were contributing 33% of world trade. And they have about 500 million people. Africa, 1.2 billion, contributing about 2.5%, and we are doing 18% among ourselves. So the idea is this: if we begin to do a lot among ourselves, we are going to increase intra-African trade. We are going to increase contribution of Africa to the world trade. We are going to increase productivity. Many businesses are going to have to do more shipments. Many businesses will have to do more production. They will have to grow their capacity. They will need to hire more people. The idea basically is that, can we leverage on our population in Africa to create more jobs in Africa? Can we leverage on our population in Africa to create more jobs in Africa? That is actually what this is all about. That is actually what this is all about. Can we leverage on our population in Africa to create more jobs in Africa? And indeed we can do. Indeed we can do. And we can do by leveraging on the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, because it helps us to be able to do business among ourselves. It helps us to be able to do business among ourselves. We really need to do business among ourselves. You know, the last time I was in Kano, I saw a particular bottled water, and I saw on that water French. And I didn't need a prophet to tell me that water, bottled water was being shipped to Niger. They're being shipped to Niger. So, I mean, and that's bottled water. That's bottled water. That is bottled water. And I'm very sure that export is going to be informal. Most likely that trade is going to be informal to Niger. Most likely it's going to be informal. And that's from Kano. And we have a lot of countries around us like that that we can do business with, that we really have not been looking at. You know, I was also talking to a banker last week, about the fact that he has a customer who is producing fantastic products, and they are having issue with FX, but their customer is exporting their product. Now, just imagine that. Just imagine the fact that a manufacturer has a distributor who is exporting his product, but he is looking for FX. There is a big challenge with FX now. The bankers here, you will agree with me, it's been an interesting week. I think we've had how many news this week from CBN about Forex. One even came out today again, but no official letter to, not official yet, but you know there's no smoke without fire. But most of the things that CBN is doing actually is just to reduce the utilization of FX. It's not going to solve the problem. If we don't export and generate more foreign exchange, we will solve that problem. Of course, there are challenges, and I'm not denying those challenges. We had to do a shipment recently, and it's hell getting product through Apapa. I'm not denying those challenges. But what's interesting is that, yes, very tough for importers, very, very tough for them, very, very tough for them. But what I recommended for them is for them to begin to export. An average importer is a potential exporter. An average importer is a potential exporter. An average importer is a potential exporter. He already have mastered what it takes to export. And most of these importers import raw material, manufacture goods in Nigeria, but not many of them are looking outside to be able to ship their product, the same product. Which is why we advertise our export diploma program, to be able to help businesses who have product and are looking for a way of exporting those products, to be able to educate them on how to go about it. Like I said, there are challenges, no doubt about it, but people are finding a way around those challenges. Especially with the port issue, there are challenges. People are finding a way around those challenges. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement affords Nigerian and African countries the opportunity to increase trading activity among themselves, and thereby increasing the African contribution to the world trade, and consequently creating more jobs and wealth as a result of the demand on the companies to grow their capacity to meet the new market demand. To grow their capacity to meet the new market demand. To grow their capacity in order to be able to meet the new market demand. Because we expect new market demand on the African continent. We expect new market demand on the African continent. So this is showing intra-African trade from 1996 to 2016 from 11% to just about 17%. Now, you know, there are concerns also with African Coordinated Trade Agreement about, look, these people are going to flood our market. Oh, we are opening our border, they will flood our market. I think there are concerns, serious and genuine concerns. In fact, one of the reasons why AfCFTA was not signed on time is because of this issue. One of the reasons why. The government did not sign on time is actually because of this issue. I remember MAN protested. A number of, even I think NLC protested also. Nigerian Labour Congress. A lot of people protested, and sincerely, their concerns were genuine. Only that the agreement already envisaged some of these issues and took care of them. The agreement already envisaged some of these issues and took care of them. There is a concept of rule of origin that is entrenched in that agreement. Now, even in the liberalization, you are not going to fully liberalize. If you look at my screen, you will see three options. You will see non-sensitive list, and sensitive list. And lastly, exclusion list. Now, what exactly does this mean? The people that drafted the agreement are very conscious of the fact that we have a fragile economy. So we really cannot fully expose ourselves. There are areas that we want to protect. And they have given us safeguards to be able to protect our economy. So the agreement says we will fully liberalize 90% of HS code, tariff head. Now, for those that are familiar with HS code is harmonized system of code. Harmonized system of code. Harmonized system of code is like ID number of products in the world. Every product in the world have an ID number, or at least 98% of products in the world have an ID number. Someone said they can't hear me. Please, if you can hear me, can you indicate, please? Someone said they cannot hear me. If you can hear me, please indicate, please. Am I audible enough, please? Okay, okay. Someone say perfect. Gloria, maybe it's your phone. Everybody is saying it's good. All right. Gloria, please check your phone. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. So 90% non-sensitive list. So the HS code in the world, I think, is about 5,000 plus total HS code for different products, tradable products in the world. Out of those products, 90% will be liberalized. Then there is a 7% sensitive list, and there is a 3% exclusive list. 7% sensitive list is subject to negotiated liberalization. In fact, this will be liberalized over a period of 10 years. What does that mean? If the tariff, the duty paid on the goods is 20% today, and trading starts, next year, 18% will be charged. Then 16%, then 14%, 12% till it becomes zero. And that will be done over a period of 10 years. So after 10 years of AFCFTA, all sensitive lists will have been fully liberalized. But there is an exclusion list of 3% that will not be subject to liberalization. It's exclusive because maybe there are very sensitive areas and products in the economy, and government does not want competition in that area at all. So the idea here is that we have safeguards. We also have the safeguard of rule of origin. Rule of origin basically says that a product that will enjoy duty-free must have been substantially originating from here. Substantially originating from here. What does that mean? That good is originating from us in Africa. Let me give you an example for West Africa. If you want to export duty-free in West Africa, you need 60% of the raw materials to be produced in Africa. In West Africa. That's the 16 member state of West Africa. 60%. Why is this important? Why is this important? One of the concerns that have been expressed is that people who are not Africans are going to find a way to come into Africa, bringing in their own product and taking advantage of our market. And I must confess, these are very, very genuine, very genuine concerns. But they are not enough not to sign the agreement, which is why the president eventually went ahead to sign, even though we have not ratified. So in West Africa, if I want to apply, like the last I checked, about 700 companies have registered under ETLS in Nigeria, 700 manufacturing companies, 700. And over 2,000 products have been registered. Over 2,000 products have been registered. Over 2,000 products have been registered. And to get that product to be able to enjoy that benefit, 60% substantial, 60% substantial value addition. That is so critical. That is so critical. Why is that important? Remember, the goal of a free trade agreement is to create wealth for the people. So if you don't have a rule of origin, that means a Chinese man can bring his goods through Morocco and claim that the product is from Nigeria. And claim that the product is a product of Morocco, but that product really is not made in Morocco. Morocco have not enjoyed any benefit. Morocco have not enjoyed any benefit. That product was smuggled into Morocco, and from Morocco they want to pass it into West Africa, and they are targeting Nigerian market. Do you know that at some point Morocco is not in West Africa, it's in North Africa, but they want to join West Africa? Why were they? When people heard it, Nigeria opposed it actually. Why were they? Because they were looking at the huge market in West Africa and the fact that even West African countries were not taking advantage of this opportunity that they have. They are not taking advantage of this opportunity that they have. So you also expect under AFCFTA 60% raw materials. So that means if my raw material weigh 80, if my raw material weigh 50 kg, all my raw material put together weigh 50 kg, 60% of that weight, the material that constitutes 60% of that weight, must be sourced on the African soil. That means it has created job for another African in another country. If we don't do this, Nigeria will not be able to enjoy. African countries will not be able to enjoy the benefit they have under AFCFTA. They will not be able to enjoy it. They will not be able to enjoy it. They will not be able to enjoy it. So those are safeguards. Just giving you an idea of the safeguards that have been designed to protect us under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. And there are a lot of other rules of origin, tariff heading, value addition, and the like that I'll probably talk about some other time. So by January this year, every country, by the way, 54 countries have signed. I think it's only Eritrea that have not signed. And I think 22 countries have ratified, if not more now, because each day they keep adding to it. So we already, I think we need about 21 countries to ratify, and we have more than 21 ratified already. And AFCFTA is supposed to take off, trade is supposed to take off July 1. COVID delayed it. Even the secretariat was recently handed over by the government of Ghana to Mene Wankele Mene. I hope I pronounced that name very well. That's the Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Do you know that Nigeria bidded for that? Nigeria bidded for that secretariat. But while we were dilly-dallying, we bidded for secretariat. But we were dilly-dallying, if you sign, don't sign, sign, don't sign, sign. And since it was zoned to West Africa, and Nigeria and Africa was dilly-dallying, and West Africa, Nigeria was dilly-dallying on signing, Ghana have signed, Ghana have ratified. Of course, Ghana took it. Ghana did not have competition again because it was Nigeria and Ghana that were bidding for it. So Ghana already built a secretariat for them and handed it over already. So work has started, and the Director General has said by January, trading will start under AFCFTA. Trading will start under AFCFTA. So we have all the instruments deposited, the tariff concession schedule for the 90%, 7%, and 3%. This is saying that since you have area you don't want us to go, submit the details. Let's know the details so we can publish it. So everybody can know that in Nigeria will not allow this one. Nigeria allow this one. These are exclusive lists of Nigeria. So if you're shipping to Nigeria, we'll pay duty. These are sensitive lists of Nigeria, and these are non-sensitive lists of Nigeria. But Nigeria is yet to ratify. But the National Action Committee is working very hard to make that happen, actually. But at least Nigeria is yet to ratify. Nigeria is yet to ratify. The schedule for specific commitment for trade in services will be concluded. It's being worked on. I know yet concluded because of COVID. But for trading services, the focus is on businesses, finance, financial sector, which Nigeria is doing very well, business support services, tourism, transport, and communication services. And by the way, we have a diploma in service export management from the American Institute of Extended Studies that you can actually be part of. You can actually be part of. You can actually be part of. AFCFTA Action Committee for Nigeria have been approved. They are working already with the MDA. We also have the NOTN, all of them working together to ensure that Nigeria is ready for this particular huge opportunity to trade on the African continent. operation of AFCFTA was launched in July. The launch was supported by presentation of the following instrument, which will facilitate implementation. Number one, agree rule of origin. Dashboard of AU Trade Observatory. AFCFTA Trade in Good Password Protected Dashboard. Pan-African Payment and Settlement System. People have asked questions about payment, and they are working very hard on that. We can't be paying in dollars when we are trading in Africa. Continental online mechanism for monitoring, reporting, and elimination of non-tariff barrier. The plan is to actually get an app. The app is ready. If you search for AFCFTA, I'm sure you will find it on maybe Play Store or Apple Store. But the idea is, as an, currently, even under the ECOWAS Free Trade Agreement, if I want to do shipment in West Africa, sometimes I will have issues with the agencies. Even when I have what it takes to trade duty-free, they might even be asking me for duty payment. Now, AFCFTA Secretariat is very much aware of that. The drafting committee are very much aware of that. What they've done is to design a reporting mechanism to make it easier for a trader to report to the appropriate authority that an African country who have signed and ratified AFCFTA is refusing to abide by what they signed. And they're actually a dispute settlement mechanism. There is a dispute settlement mechanism under AFCFTA. A dispute settlement mechanism, such that if I have an issue, the way we just close our border in West Africa, ETLS does not have such provision in its protocol. But AFCFTA have those provisions. In fact, it's one of the protocol, dispute resolution mechanism or dispute settlement. The protocol have trade in goods. We have the protocol on trade in goods. We have protocol in trade in services. We have protocol on investment, protocol on intellectual property protection, protocol on competition, and protocol on dispute resolution. 6 protocols, all entrenched in that agreement. So the agreement is designed to help. In fact, a lot of issues that other trade agreements have had around the world were factored in to ensure that we don't repeat those errors, we don't repeat those mistakes, and that explains the reason why the dispute resolution mechanism is there. So there is a reporting mechanism, there is a monitoring mechanism to ensure that every country abide by what they've signed. There is a huge potential for Nigerian manufactured products on African continent. This is because quite a number of items being procured by other African countries from around the world are either already being manufactured in Nigeria or can be produced in Nigeria. We did a search on this product that Nigeria have what it takes to produce, and we found 90 products. I'll be showing that maybe next week. 90 products that Africa currently import that Nigeria can produce. And the interesting thing about AFCFTA is that AFCFTA is not going to accommodate, commodities. I will show you a data. I don't know if I have that data here. Okay, I don't have that data today. I wanted to show you a data to demonstrate to you that Nigeria, majority of Nigerian export to Africa right now, are not commodities. They are manufactured finished goods. Majority of Nigerian export to Africa right now are not commodities. but rather they are manufacture finished goods. What does that tell you? That if we are going to do anything serious and significant under AFCFTA, it has to do with respect to manufactured goods. It has to be with respect to manufactured goods. So most of our shipment right now is manufactured goods. Our agri we go to Europe, America, and Asia. Mineral will go to mainly Asia and few to Europe. But manufactured goods goes to Africa. Only few go to, all those shipments we do in NACO to Asia, to Europe are small compared to what we ship to Africa. Remember that as of last year, about 15% of non-oil exports were done, done from Nigeria. Sorry, about 15% of export from Nigeria were non-oil exports. Out of that 15%, about 10-11% were manufactured goods. About 10-11% were manufactured goods. And guess where they are going? Africa. Recently, Innocent said, why our lawmakers decline, our House of Assembly member decline, and some of the government MDA decline the manufactured cars of Innocent in Nigeria. West African countries are ordering for Innocent cars. You know, sometimes when you hear some things, you'll be wondering, you know, I don't even know if we love our own. I don't know sometimes if we really, because sometimes when you hear some things, they sound weird, but they are true. But they are true. But they are true. They sound weird. They sound weird. But guess what? They are true. They are true because we're supposed to be promoting our own. But unfortunately, we are not. There is this PhD, pulling down syndrome. Someone has been able to make effort on his own to produce cars in Nigeria. And guess what? Government, who is one of the major buyers of cars, is not patronizing him. And he's being patronized by outsider. He's being patronized by outsider. So we have what it takes to export, but you know what? We are not doing it. Why we are promoting, and I must commend those African countries that are buying Nigerian-made cars. They are telling us that, look, we believe in you, even though you guys might not believe in yourself. Even though you guys might not believe in yourself. So that when we are talking about manufactured goods, someone will say, Dele, what are you talking about? How are we going to deal? We don't have what it takes. We don't. Look, maybe I should show you what I normally will start with. I didn't start with in this particular program. Maybe I should show you what I normally will start with, to show you what Nigeria was already producing in the 80s, 40 years ago. What Nigeria was already producing, from cars to the tire of the car being produced in Nigeria, the seat being produced in Nigeria, the windscreen being produced in Nigeria, the battery being produced in Nigeria, even the fridge we use then being produced in Nigeria, the TV being produced in Nigeria. And someone will tell me that we can't do it. How do we even grow if we don't patronize ourselves? How will we grow if we don't patronize ourselves? The challenge of Nigerian company might have had in the past that might prevented entry into this market is likely going to be pricing. And this is most likely going to be reduced now because of the implementation of AFCFTA. The fact that African countries currently import this product is a sign that this product most likely will be on the 90% non-sensitive list. Because these African countries already imported, they already import them. If they already import them, that means It's not going to likely be on the sensitive list. It's going to be on the non-sensitive list. So in my opinion, they are low-hanging fruit that we can take advantage of. Look at the list before I close today. I'll be closing on this note today. Look at the list. Petrol, $57 billion import. Antibiotics, 16 billion. Crude oil, 16 billion. Cars, 16 billion. Wheat, 13 billion. Packaged drugs, 11 billion. Rice, 6.4 billion. Petrol gas, 5.7 billion. Palm oil. Africa is importing palm oil worth $4.9 billion. $1 billion in today's Nigeria, $1 billion is about 380 billion naira. So over 1 trillion naira worth. Almost 2 trillion naira worth of palm oil is being imported. Almost 2 trillion. So my take is, if those African countries are already importing it, that is a sign that we can export it. And that's my argument. We're already growing our rice. We're already growing our rice. We can consider exporting that rice. Raw sugar. We have the sugar cane to export. Insulated wire. Do you know Nigerian wire, I understand, is actually of better quality than a lot of imported wires, electrical wires in the world. It's better. But some people will still bring in the imported ones. Insulated wire. Corn. Gold. Insulated wire is 4 billion. Corn is 3.48 billion. Gold is 3.09 billion. Briquette is coal made from organic material. Is 2.58 billion. Watt. Pesticide, 2.8 billion. Rubber footwear, 2.46 billion. Furniture, 2.44 billion. Poultry meat, 2.11 billion. Sugarcane, 2.02 billion. This is not the world market, this is African market. And remember, African is contributing just about 2.5% of trade in the world. So we're not really, when you look at the volume, it's huge. But when you look at what the world is doing, it's not much. Plastic lid, 1.9 billion. Scented mixture, 1.9 billion. Malt extract, 1.9 billion. Cement, 1.7 billion. And Dangote is contributing to that cement importation in other countries. Rolled tobacco, 1.6 billion. Soya beans, 1.6 billion. Soya beans oil, 1.57 billion. Nitrogenous fertilizer, 1.52 billion. Iron pipe, 1.47 billion. Knit men's suit. You see this, our Abba brothers and sisters doing a lot of tailoring there. Men's suit and women's suit, 1.45 billion and 1.30 billion. This, in my opinion, is amazing. Looking at the potential of what is currently being traded in Africa. So it's for us to look inward and ask ourselves critical questions. And when maybe by October, or late September, I'll probably begin to talk about market entry options. And then we'll begin to look at, when you see this kind of product, you should not think that you want to produce it. No, that's not the way to go. Don't even think of producing it. For a start, be a distributor. Idako says it's nauseating. Be a distributor, please. Just be a distributor. You can distribute this product on behalf of people producing in Africa. Have a firm agreement to look for market for their product. Don't try to produce. Over time, you can begin to produce. But at this point, I'm basically saying that for individuals that have deep pockets, they have fund, and they're looking for a way of generating effects, here is a way of generating effects. You don't need to be the owner. Do you know that a lot of items we bring into this country from abroad, a good chunk of them a good chunk of them, a very, very good chunk of them are not produced by the exporter that exports to Nigeria. They are middlemen who are distributing on behalf of the manufacturers. And that's exactly what we can do. So you don't need to be the one manufacturing it, please. And you can tell them to do contract production for you. Yes, we are going to continue the list next week. I'm going to round up shortly. We're going to continue the list next week. Someone is asking a question. I think that's Ebon. We're going to continue the list next week. And also next week, the video of this one is on the Telegram channel. I don't know if you have the Telegram channel. I will try to drop the link to the Telegram channel for you before we close. I'll try to drop the link to the Telegram channel for you before we close. So it's a long list of different products that Nigeria have what it takes to export. But guess what? For one reason or the other, people, like I was telling you of someone, you know, I mentioned someone to you who has what it takes to export, but it's not exporting. And, you know, it's amazing. You know, when you hear something, when I was told about that guy, when the banker told me, and I was asking myself, how on earth could this happen? How will this person have his his distributor exporting his product in the African continent? I've dropped it. I've dropped it. How can someone, I've dropped the link. If you click on that link, you join the WhatsApp group. In the WhatsApp group, you will have access to the video and the audio of this particular presentation. Sorry, on the Telegram channel, rather. You have access to the video and the audio, and the of this presentation. Now, the remaining part that everyone's talking about, we're going to be discussing that next week. But I'm thinking about the fact that I'm hoping that this will help us to send out the message. The message needs to go out far and wide. Go out far and wide to people who are Nigerians, who have what it takes to be able to export, but are not even aware of the opportunity that they have in the export market. They are not even aware of the opportunity that they have in the export market. And you know what? Information, they say, is power. But what we have decided to do in 3 Think is to ensure that this information become common knowledge. That this information become common knowledge. And we believe it can become a common knowledge among businesses if we propagate the gospel of AFCFTA. If we propagate the gospel of AFCFTA. So look at this product. When you see the remaining list, I see about 60 lists I'm going to be sharing with you next week that African currently import. That means this product have potential for export within the African continent.